Welcome back. It's time for the second discussion on Global Morning. Today, like I said, we're going to be looking at the border communities and, of course, internal security. How do these people get into the country? What is happening to the border? Sometimes some people will tell you these people's arms are very sophisticated. We don't have the kind of arms they have. How does these arms get into the country? That is one. Secondly, what is the relationship between these countries and those at the border community? What is the confusion? Which of the countries do they belong to? I could remember what happened during the Bakassi issue, how the case went to court. The Cameroonians were saying, well, we own Bakassi, Nigerians say we own Bakassi, and all of that played out at the end of the day. These are border communities. These are grounds where this insecurity is being breeded and where these formidable forces are being built before they get into the countries and constitute a whole lot of nuisance, terrorism on the rise, insecurity on a daily basis. Who is thinking about the border communities? What is happening? How porous is the border communities? What is the mentality of the people at the border communities? How is the immigration laws affecting the people at the border communities? All of these will form basis of our discussion today, as I have my guest join me right here in the studio. My guest is a retired Assistant Controller General of Immigrations, and he has been there, and he is going to be the one to talk to us today. Dr. Oke Ezugu is right here. Good morning. It's good to have you on the program.
Good morning, Ramsey.
Well, we're looking at Nigerian border communities and, of course, internal security, the challenges of internal security. You know, a lot of people don't even know that there are border communities. These border communities are being neglected, all right, by maybe the different countries, all right, where they are bordering. And as a matter of fact, even during election, they get confused. You can even see that some of them can even vote for this country and vote for the other country. Because in a way, there is a confusion right here. So let's look at the border communities. What do you have to say about Nigerian border communities?
Well, good morning again, Ramsey. We have our border communities. Unfortunately, those who delineated our borders, who divided us, between us and our corresponding countries, appear not to have come up with a clear-cut demarcation. And so many things were not taken into consideration when the border areas were being demarcated, kind of. Because you see situations where families are divided. You come to this side, you see a family that have a corresponding family and affinity to the next family on the other side of the border. Of course, they intermarry, they go to the same market, you see them celebrating the same festival. In fact, it is even difficult for you to convince anybody who is, most of the people living at these border areas, that there is a borderline in between. Very difficult. Well, they'll just tell you that my brother is on the other side, or I want to visit my brother. And it will look like, as an African, when somebody is your brother and you think you want to visit him, and of course the distance from where you are to where the person you want to visit is could probably be less than 100 meters. Or 50 meters, just a little thin line and all that. So it sets a whole lot of confusion when you begin to tell them that, look, this is Nigeria, for instance, this is Cameroon, this is Niger, and this is Nigeria, this is Benin Republic. This is, in a normal setting, there should be a buffer zone. There should be a buffer zone that divides both countries, whereby if you want to go to the next country, you don't have to pass through that buffer zone. That buffer zone Normally, the security services control the area, the immigration services, customs, and the rest of them. They take care of those areas to ensure that before you move from the other side to the other side, the distance is quite large. So it becomes easier to coordinate and control movement within that sector. But we have a peculiar circumstance where you could see a family here in Nigeria, then you go behind, like the type you see around Adamawa, and the rest of the Taraba, and then you go behind, you see another Nigerian family after passing through a Cameroonian family. You understand, a Cameroonian village, and then you see Nigeria on the other side. And it's the same thing this way. You understand? In a place like Cross River, you have the border communities. The Ejegam is a tribe in Cross River. Then you don't have the Ejegam Nigeria, you have the Ejegam in Cameroon. The same people. No difference, no same culture, same names, everything. So controlling that area, for instance, becomes something else. And there is no clear-cut demarcation, like I said, there is no buffer zone. You just see them living almost together, except in circumstances where you have the waterways dividing them. On a normal level and on the ground, they are living together. So it becomes a very difficult thing, but that's what the border communities look like in our setting.
But then, people living together like that, since there is this, there is no clear-cut demarcation, what will now happen if they want to move from this end to the other end? Would they be checked by the immigration? Is there going to be some, maybe let's say, documents that they will need to present? That will take us to the issue of how immigration laws affect these people living at the border communities. I'm going to talk about the security situation later on, but let's clear this so that we can have a clear-cut movement in this discussion.
Well, the truth is that the makers of our immigration law, and I want to believe that's the same thing in our corresponding countries like Cameroon, Niger, and the rest of them. I'm not sure they took any hard look on the position of the border communities, because by the immigration law, there's no exception to a formal clearance where you want to come in and go out. You understand? So if you are coming into the country, you are expected to come with your documents. You'll be scrutinized, you'll be checked, and then cleared up for you to enter the country. You understand? Now, that is where the challenge is now. The man who is in Ecom, for instance, or who is on the other side, like I said, and he now wants to go and pick something from the next community that's just maybe 100 meters or 200 meters away, and you're now asking him to come with these documents. I mean, it sounds like something that's it sounds strange to them. And I am advocating actually that we probably need to take another look at our immigration law and then look at the peculiar circumstances of these border communities, how we can manage them such that there will be no friction. Because I can tell you, because I was in the field, I was there before, we've always had frictions from time to time. You see quarrel, fighting, tearing shirts, tearing uniforms and all of that, because the people living there are actually not considering themselves as strangers or foreigners or strangers to the other side and all that. They look at themselves as, in fact, they see as a meddlesome interloper, someone who has come to cause problem within the communities and all that.
They say this is challenging. You're doing your job, but because they are not aware, now they look at you as someone who has come to cause problem. Maybe they look at the immigration officers or the authorities as people who have come to take a brother from his brother, a sister from his sister, cause enmity. Okay, you can't see your brother anymore. Your brother is from the other country, you are from this this country. Well, we're of the same parents, and he didn't travel. This is just a community. All right, let's look at this. Where do you think the government can come in now? Do you think the government needs to do anything? Because from what you're saying, I think there is some level of negligence right now at the border communities. If all these things are not done, what do you think the government needs to do to avoid some form of repercussions? I'm still going to come to the area of security, because security can be breeded, insecurity can emanate from places like that, and you don't know what is happening. Someone can come to this way, cause mayhem, and go back, and before you know, you can't even trace them and all of that. So what do you have to say about government's interference now, or what you think government would have done to ensure there is no breeding of terrorists from these quarters, from the community borders?
Well, given what I know about prevalence in border communities, many of them actually don't even know which country they belong. They don't even know. They belong to whichever country that appears to come handy with anything. If this side is giving them water, giving them electricity, giving them hospital, schools, and giving them some palliatives, so that is where they are. If the other side does the same, that's where they are. And during the elections, you see many people from the other side coming in this side to vote. In fact, they have, I can tell you that many of them are having our voters cards. Many of them are even carrying our passports. Many of them are carrying our national ID cards and the rest of them. Because, like I said, they are the same people, and for inexplicable reasons, our local rulers, traditional rulers, local government administrators within these areas, because they also believe in that system that the other person is their brother and other. In fact, they award them citizenship by proxy without even going through any process. You just come and they give you a clearance. Is our own. Give you clearance that you are an indigene of the place, even when you're not. In fact, I had cause to address the Cross River State House of Assembly on this at a time when I was the controller of immigration service that side. And it's something that is a very big challenge. They vote in elections. Some of them here go there to vote in elections. Some of them, the other side, come to vote in elections this way. But I think what government can do is to begin to look at giving them a sense of belonging in real terms. You understand? When you go to some of the better communities, you cry, you weep for them. There's nothing to show that there's any government doing anything around that area. Most of the areas. You go there, desolate areas, no amenities, no fiscal structures, no infrastructure anywhere. That will make any of them begin to feel that, oh, this is my country, and then I have to really stand against anything that works against the country. So, and that's why it becomes very tricky when insurgents, bandits, or whatever name we call them, those who are enemies of this country, when they want to come into the country, and they come into these communities where poverty appears to be walking the street and the rest of them, and they come in with some of the things that can entice them, and it doesn't take them anything to get a space within such communities, and they start breeding from there. And I can tell you that most of the discussions we're having within the security circle around these border areas started this way. Somebody can just walk in, and when he walks in, the issue is not as if the government agencies are not doing their job, but it's just like if you come to my village and then you say you want to track me. I know so many routes. You cannot track me. I can always find a way to get out from wherever and then appear somewhere else. So these people can always find a way using the locals there, the community people there, it doesn't take anything to get across to any of them. And when they get one person, they get the second person, and the moment something is coming in through that fellow, that they begin to build followership and begin to build cells within these communities. And before you know it, it blow up to something that we only hear about organizations that become manifestly violent. That's the ones we hear. But there are pockets of them who could still be hibernate in some of these communities because the people welcome them because they don't see government presence. So I'm saying that government can do more by making their presence felt, not by sending security agencies like immigration, custom, police, and all that. No, I can tell you again that most of these communities see the presence of these people as people who have come to disrupt their system, disrupt whatever they are doing, and disturb their life. They don't see you as a friendly person. They don't see you, and that's why there is always a friction. There is always friction in between, you know.
But something is quite confusing here, and that is the fact that these people vote in elections. They vote, meaning they should have a House of Representative member. They should also have local government chairman, state House of Assembly members, national state assembly members, and all of that. What are those people doing that they don't even, because they are supposed to be the representatives of the government to do things at the border community for those who feel they are part of the community. But you said something very vital. Sometimes you just see these people do what they want to do and they run away to these places and you don't know those places. We've had cases in the past where they will tell you, well, these terrorists who are seen don't look like Nigerians. They look like people who are coming from outside. Now the question is, don't they have representatives at the top that should fight for them? Because poverty is something that a lot of people can take advantage of. If anyone is hungry and you come and you conscientize the person, before you know, the person is undergoing your training and they see you coming with maybe one or two things from the terrorism attack, they want to join too, and that is a threat to Nigeria. So how does these people relate with the people in government, or they don't have people representing them at all because they don't even know where they belong?
Well, to the extent that when you talk of our borderline now, people within our own circle, of course they have representatives. Are you getting me? But because of the affinity, the closeness, they are related and all that, some of them, it becomes easier for any of them to vote in elections in that way. You understand my point now? But I'm also aware that government has an agency responsible for these border communities. There is a Border Communities Development Agency, and I guess that agency is domiciled within the presidency. I think government can as well reinforce that agency and then ensure that their mandate is well coordinated, their mandate is well carried out, because if you have an agency whose mandate is to develop the border communities, they should be seen as doing such. I'm not indicting them. I've not been to all the border communities, but I've been to some. But I can tell you that it doesn't look like that agency is really making great impact within the border communities. Otherwise, if they do that, most of what we are seeing, we will be seeing them. Well, before cells are built, if government presence is there, there will be some people who will say, no, don't come and disturb our system. Our people are doing well and all that. We have our water, we have our hospital, we have our roads, we have everything. So what are you coming here to do? Well, because they don't see those things. If somebody comes here again and say, look, I will give you this, I will give you that. And in this period when things are really getting tough and hard on everywhere, it doesn't take anything to just ask anybody over to put some things, some nonsense into the brain, and the person begin to act. Yes, because nobody, is difficult to see an outfit, these terrorist groups and the rest of them, walk their way from any country directly and walk into the country directly. They must domicile somewhere. They must stay somewhere. They must settle somewhere. And where are they settling? Among our communities, and those are the border areas. And when they settle there, they begin to propagate whatever vision they have, and begin to put it to the people that it can be this way, it can be that way. And of course begin to blackmail government, because that's what most of them do. They blackmail government. Look at what government is doing to you. They are not doing this, they are not doing that, they are not doing this. It's not as if we have a better option, but that is the blackmail. And when you do that, of course you expect an average jobless person who is on the street there in such communities to key into it, if that will at least provide him something on the table. That is it.
So what are the challenges do you think all of this will pose on internal security?
It does, of course. The moment you have such cells in the border communities, what else are you talking about? The internal security is already, there's a disruption already. There's a disruption. But you can do what you see, I prefer a preemptive action, not waiting until you begin to explode. Like from time to time, you begin to hear that this group has come up and this is what they are doing, and all. These people don't come in overnight. They come in and exist within these border communities for a long time, and after which they begin to propagate whatever they had to. In the last few days, the Immigration Service raised an alarm over a group that don't believe in Christianity, they don't believe in Islam. They want to get back to the traditional religion and all that. Now, nobody can tell you freely that he knows the component of the ingredients of whatever they are propagating. But definitely they have adherents. They have people who are following them. Adding to our problem, adding to our internal security challenges, because before you know it, we'll be telling stories of one extremist group or the other and the other. Already within a space of how many months we are having, at least government has been able to announce about 2 extremist groups. In Lokarawa, I think.
Yes, Lokarawa.
And this other group, the immigration raised the alarm the other day.
Yes. It's becoming worrisome right now because of the security situation in the country. But generally, what's your assessment of internal security so far? Because the kidnapping, the terrorism attacks, before, they came off with bombing the places before they now started the attack. In the night they just come to a community and do what they want to do and go back. Only God knows where they are going back to. Maybe to these border communities. They come strike overnight and they go back to their communities. So what's your assessment, your general assessment of the security situation in the country as at this moment? 2024, 2025 in
the security agencies are doing a great job. I'm no longer in government, but I have friends who are even among the fighting forces and the rest of them. These people are doing a great job. They have, in fact, since this government came on board, the heat has been on them. Yeah, the heat is on them. The government, the soldiers, the other security agencies, down their toes, and they're working very hard. You see, this thing did not start today, and it's not something that you just go and pluck out and say, "Oh, come on, stop misbehaving." It cannot happen. And like I said, they came, like as I've explained, in small ways. Start building followership in border communities and other communities, taking advantage of the inadequacies in our system, and then bringing in, and before you know it, they need to make them believe that the government of the day is their enemy. What is the impression? The government don't like you. It's a blackmail. government is not giving you anything.
Just to get the people's support.
Yes.
It's part of what they're doing.
You see, I don't know whether you've ever stayed where, I mean, maybe you finish secondary school or university and you're in your village and you don't have a job and all of that. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and somebody walks up to you and says, boy, come on. There is something there. Somebody wants to see us. And then you now get there. And when you get there, you now see one man talking to you. First of all, as you come in, he gives you everything. You eat and drink and all that. And when you are going introduction, he gives you maybe 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira. And
you've also like 5,000 in 2 months.
Before you know it, in fact, nobody will tell you to come back the next day because you'll be wanting to find out when the next meeting will take place. And that is the way they come. But that is because they are not feeling the impact of government in practical terms. That's my conviction. They are not feeling the impact of government in practical terms.
So as it is, if the government is doing well, they wouldn't even go that if they are really
the government is not about government doing well. But if government is taking care of these border communities the way they ought to, they need to take charge. Government needs to take charge of the border communities. Not about posting officers to go and work there. Because they see them as the agents of siege. As they come in, as security agencies come in with their uniform and the rest of them, they see them as people who have come to press them. They're not seeing them as those who have come to protect them. They are not. So government should take charge, take hold of the border communities, administer the border communities, even if it means setting up a different administrations to take care of those areas responsible to the presidency. Fine and good, but like I said, there is a border communities development agency.
So what are they doing?
That's the question.
What are they doing?
I'm sure that agency, if Canada taking is domiciled within the presidency. If it is, then they need to reinvigorate that agency. You know, put in more effort into making it an establishment that we can at least look at what they are doing and assess them. At the moment, I think whatever they are doing is shrouded in some murky waters and all that. I'm not sure they are clear enough.
All right. As we try to round up, let me ask you. You are an assistant controller general of the Nigeria Immigration Service. Let's say retired. Yeah.
Yes.
He's retired already. So, during your period at these border communities, was there any feeling that, well, these people look like terrorists? Have there been any movement or any action or anything that portrays like, well, this set of people that just passed, or these people looks like terrorists or something? Or how would you know if you see one?
I can tell you that most cases, the security agencies don't get to know about the coming of the entry of these people because of local connivance, which have always happened. They don't just walk in and start wandering the street. They come close by and get a contact. It is that contact that will become their fallback.
Probably they speak the same language.
Oh yes, in most cases they speak the same language, the same culture. In fact, even if they walk into some of these communities and you see them playing around or going around there, you might just think it's one of the people there. Because there's not much difference between the people from the other side and people from this side. All around the border areas, starting from Benin Republic. If you go to some area, you have the Ajashe group. Of course, they are from Yoruba stock. You understand? The only difference is that when you see somebody from an Ajashe person, they wouldn't like this cloth you're wearing, they wouldn't like mine, they want something that shines as much as that, you know. Yeah, they always like bright colors, their women, they tie wrappers, bright colors and all that. And beyond some other areas we used to identify them. But this is just one of the things.
So those people, the Ajashes are foreigners, right?
Yeah, they're only, but they're Yorubas. that from Badagry, you just cross over.
I know areas around
and the rest of them. These are all adjustments, and that of Yoruba stock. How they speak Yoruba, most of them. Sometimes with minor accent, this French accent.
Yes.
Okay, if you go to a place like Katsina, like Daura now, you see Niger, even where our former president was. I mean, it stays. It's a difference. It's not much. Are you getting me? Then, if you go to crossover, like I said, there's a local government they call Boki. Boki has Boki Nigeria, and we have Boki Cameroon. And they are the same people. You understand? So, it is not as if somebody will just package a group of bandits or something and say, let's move into Nigeria. No. They just come in either through a corresponding person, somebody who is of the next talk from the other side. They talk the person into collaborating with them. And as they do that, they find a safe haven, settlement, small one, and begin to recruit their followers. So what I'm saying and I'm advocating is that government should take charge of the border communities. Not just about sending security operatives. They should take charge and make them part and parcel of our system so that they will be able to say no when anybody want to come in with some disruptions, as we are seeing now.
Vital information right here, talking about border communities and of course the challenges of internal security in Nigeria. This is the fulcrum of our discussion today, and I have a retired Assistant Controller General of Immigration, Nigerian Immigration Service right here, Dr. Ezobo, and of course a very big thank you to you for coming. This is a revelation, as a matter of fact, because a lot of people don't know, and I think it is high time the government rise to the occasion to take charge of these border communities. Well, what we are saying, I think one of the ways we can actually fight this insecurity is intelligent informations, and these intelligent informations can actually come from the border communities. This is when they are being given a sense of belonging. If not until you know you belong to a particular family, whatever happens there, you wouldn't want to give a damn to it. But then if you know you are Nigerians, if they are aware and get the right orientation and of course the social amenity, which is very important, if they have all of these, they will know that they belong to Nigeria and they will be ready to protect the territorial integrity of the country. But then I think the government needs so much to do, because there are so many ways to fight this insecurity, and we know if the government wants to do it, especially the administration of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if they want to do it, they can actually do it. First of all, take care of these border communities and let them know they are part of the country. Well, this is going to be the size of the discussion today. It's been a very wonderful time. Once again, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And we hope to have you some other time to discuss more vital issues that affect Nigeria and the world at large. This is where we call it a wrap. Coming up next is the Talk Sports on Global Television, and of course my name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a beautiful day ahead of you. Bye bye for now.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.